Very less students have joined. What happened? Friday. Chalo, let's start. Am I audible? I will. So this is the last topic in your module. Today we will finish that. And this Sunday, day after tomorrow, you have your test on Blackboard. Sunday, day after tomorrow, from 8 p.m. I will schedule it. Okay. CRs, Gaurav and all, just inform any class to all the students. Syllabus will be module 1 and module 2, whatever we have studied till now. And doubts? Sixth. Fine. All these years. Gaurav, Khushi, just inform me in your class group also, okay, to all the students. Okay. So this is a very easy topic. What we are going to see today. Okay. Everything you have studied, just you need to know the names, explicit names of all these items. So first thing that we are going to see is the common mechanisms. Okay. So what is meant by common mechanisms? See, UML is not fixed. Okay, that उसमें एक association line is like this, then it is fixed. No, you can play around it. You can modify it as per your uses, as per your requirements. So it is flexible. You can add your own flavors to a UML. And how you can do that? With the help of stereotypes, tag values, constraints, and nodes also are there. Okay, so these are few of the tools with which you can add some extra information to your diagrams. For example, you have created a class diagram. There are a lot of classes here, interacting with each other. You have created a lot of class diagram. But you want to show one other feature, that is, suppose you want to show a node. You want to somehow show a node here. Node doesn't belong to a class diagram, but I want to include it somehow in my picture. So these kind of mechanisms are provided by these functionalities. These are known as common mechanisms. Additional features or the flexibility that UML provides you. Fine. The first one is the nodes. We have seen in the use case diagram, if you remember, this was one use case, and it was going to, there was extension, I think here, dot 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 extension, extend, and we have put a note here. Remember that diagram? The example which you have seen in the use case diagrams. So that is okay. To give additional information, you want to say something, you can show. Either you can write text in your note, you can provide a UML link, you can provide a graphical representation also, whatever you want to do. And these nodes will not change the semantic meaning of your diagram. Means nothing will be changed. No architecture, structure, meaning of the diagram will be changed. This is just for additional reference, additional help. That's it. Nothing else. Fine. Then there is a term known as other adornments. What does this mean? Suppose you have created a class diagram. So you know in the class diagram, the first row is the class name. The second row is all the attributes. The third row is the all the attributes like student ID, student role. Here you will add all the functions or operations, whatever you want to call it as. So this is a general structure for a class diagram. Now you want to provide some extra information to your class diagram. So what we have seen, you can create one extra block here, the fourth row, and you can write, suppose, responsibilities. The same responsibilities we have seen in the CRC diagram, right? If you want to say anything, you want to comment regarding this class, you want to explain anything regarding this class, you want to explain what are the responsibilities of this class or anything, you can just write like this. Here they have written exceptions. You can write responsibilities and just write down whatever you want. So this is meant by adornments. Okay, extra information you are giving to define a system. You can give exceptions also like this in your class, that there are some exceptions also. You can give some responsibilities also. It's up to you. So this is also a feature that is provided in UML. Right? This is the structure of a node. This is cube or cuboid is the structure of a node. Okay, so these extra informations, you can just create a node like this, that this is a client node. But if you want to explain anything regarding that, you can write like this. Okay, the extra information that is not compulsory. All those things are adornments. Fine. Next is your stereotype. See, all these things we have seen. अभी जो मैं पढ़ाने जा रहा हूँ आगे, everything you have seen. बस पता होना चाहिए जो पढ़ा है वो exactly कहाँ लाई करता है, उसे बोलेंगे क्या. Stereotypes. See, what is the meaning of stereotypes in English? क्या मतलब होता है stereotypes का? अरे what is the meaning of stereotypes? सुना होगा ना? Stereotype is like, if you assume that all the South Indians eat idli and dosa only, this is a stereotype that is in your mind. If you assume that all the security guards are from Nepal only, based on the Bollywood movies, this is a stereotype, preconceived notations and notions, right? You have made some mind before knowing the actual reality of anything. So that is a stereotype. So actually, here stereotype means you can give some extra representation to your system or add extra elements. For example, this is a class diagram. You know that if there are 3 blocks in a rectangle, this is a class diagram structure. Okay, you will click on add model from the class point, you will add a class diagram. So this is a structure for the class diagram. You know you have to write a class name here. That is a stereotype that is made there, or it is preconceived. But UML provides you one functionality that if you write anything within this, you can change the meaning of that whole thing. Means if in the class diagram only I use these symbols and I write this is a interface, that this will no longer be a class diagram, this will be an interface diagram. If you think carefully, this is a line, dotted line with an arrow. If in the this symbol you write include, this is assumed or stereotyped to be include. And if on the same line you write extend, then line to एक ही है ना, this is the same symbol, this is the same line. But if you write extend, now this is assumed to be extend. So ये include or extend, they are also stereotypes. Everything that is written inside this is a stereotype. Means you have changed its meaning according to you. You have provided some extra information. Any doubts? इसका यूज करेंगे, we will use it. Okay. And this is the same. अच्छा interface जब पढ़ेंगे, I will tell you, right? Okay. So this is the stereotypes. Okay. You can change the meaning or you can add extra elements to your system. Anything that is written inside this, that is a stereotype. Your include and extend is also a stereotype. We will see interface today, that can also be a stereotype. Means you can write anything in the stereotypes. Next is a constraint. What we are reading? We are reading common mechanisms. What are the extra functionalities that are provided by UML to add your own flavor to the diagrams or to enhance its meaning, to make it more visually appealing? All these kind of adjectives. Okay, we have seen nodes, adornments, okay, stereotypes, constraints, tag, अभी tag values आएगा. So what are constraints? As the name suggests, constraints are the restrictions. Now these constraints will change the meaning of your diagram. This will change the meaning of your diagram. Can you tell me some? ये भूल गया क्या बनाया? Forget that. Tell me what are the constraints for a class diagram. You already know that. What are the things that you give your own and that define the meaning of the system in a class diagram? ये क्लास डायग्राम है, सी दिस. नहीं, class तो will be in the question. Class will be given in the question. Relationship will already be there in the question. नहीं, constraints का meaning. See the meaning of constraints. Constraints means restrictions. You are defining some restrictions on the class that it has to interact in this manner only. The constraint means restrictions. What are the restrictions? This is a class diagram. Yes, multiplicity. Saurabh, multiplicity is the restrictions. Isn't this multiplicity is restricting this class interaction with this class? That not everyone or this employee cannot be zero. One or more employee works on one or more project. This is the meaning of this. So multiplicity is defining or making restrictions in this diagram. So multiplicity is also a kind of constraints. Other way to define constraints in a class diagram is this is the note. This is the representation of a note which I have attached with this association link. With this association link, I have attached a note. In the note also, you can write the restrictions in this braces. Any restrictions, anything you want to define. For example, here they have defined that employee must work for the department that manages the product. This is a restriction. This is a compulsory requirement. Associations and directed associations, you will not say they are restrictions, they are relationships basically, more explicitly. ये क्वेश्चंस में गिवन ही होगा एक तरीके से, है ना. कैन बी कॉल्ड एज रिस्ट्रिक्शन, बट जनरली उसको रिलेशनशिप से बोलते हैं. Association, generalization, aggregation, composition, all these are generally categorized in the category of relationships. Constraints का meaning simply होता है if else statement kind of a thing. Okay, means some condition has to be fulfilled. That is the meaning of constraints. You have to fill some conditions for this model to run. Okay, and whatever you will give in this braces, that will be your constraints. For example, you can add a note and write anything you want in the note. Other way to represent constraints is, suppose this is my project class. In the project class, this manager is my attribute, this budget is my attribute, and now they have one function also, this get budget. Get budget is a function. Okay, now I want to put some condition on this function, that this function should be able to fulfill this condition, that is project budget should be less than or equal to department budget. So this is a condition I want to fulfill. So again, how this condition is written, you must not be able to see. ये ऐसे braces के अंदर लिखा गया है, इस get budget के नीचे ऐसे brackets के अंदर whatever you want to write. This is constraints. Any doubts? Clear? Fine. Now next, tag values. Tag value is nothing but whatever class name you give. जैसे यहाँ पे whatever class name you give, that this class name is employee. This class will have name as an attribute, employee ID as an attribute, department as an attribute. These are tagged values, the values that you have fixed from your side. Okay, for example, this is a node, this is a node, and you have given some values in the node. These are tagged values. Suppose you created a stereotype. Stereotype, what is stereotype? Anything that you write here. Suppose I created a stereotype that is server. Okay, suppose it looks something like this. This is a rectangle with two blocks, and on the top I have written in this symbol that this is a server stereotype. अब ये हो चाहे जो भी, चाहे ये क्लास का स्ट्रक्चर रहा हो, चाहे ये इंटरफेस का स्ट्रक्चर रहा हो, doesn't matter. Now it has become a server. That is the meaning of stereotype. That whatever you write inside that, this whole thing will become that only. Means if you have written, suppose this whole thing you have written Shaktiman, so this will become Shaktiman. It's up to you. So if you have written server here, this thing is a server now. So stereotype creates new things. Okay, you can see here. With stereotype, you can add new things to the UML. नई चीजें तुम ऐड कर सकते हो जो existing नहीं है. You are getting the essence of stereotypes, right? Stereotypes can transform a person. If this is an actor, This is an actor, right? But if I write the name of this actor inside this, that क्या करें इस actor का? This is not an actor. You write inside this, this is not an actor. So now this is not an actor. This cannot interact with the use case diagram. You have changed the meaning of this actor. Fine. If suppose this is a use case diagram, this is a use case. This circle is for use case. If in this stereotype you write that this is a class. Now this is not a use case. This is a class. This is what is meant by stereotypes. Preconceived notations. You have changed the meaning of this whole thing. Got it? Yes or no? Are yes or no? Tell me quickly. This let's just finish it fast. I'll leave you early also. It's no issues. Okay. A few more slides. It will be over. Okay. So suppose I created a new stereotype that is server with the help of this diagram, right? So with the help of stereotype, I can create new things, and with the help of this tagged values, I can give properties to these new values. अभी जो नया सर्वर बना लिया है, this नया सर्वर that you have created, इसको कुछ properties भी तो देनी होंगी. अगर ये normal class diagram होता, this would have been a normal class diagram. Then you would have known that okay, in the first row I have to write the class name, in the second row I have to write the attributes, in the third row I have to write the functions. But you have created something new, some new kind of a structure that you are calling it as a server. Now you have to give some properties also. So that properties, this is ये जो नीचे लिखा है, that is nothing but tag values. So everything जो भी हम लोग class name देते हैं, attributes देते हैं, functions देते हैं, जो भी association का नाम देते हो, अगर यहाँ पे एक student class है, here is a course class, you write here takes, right? अब तक takes लिखते हुए आ रहे हैं ना, तो takes किस category में आएगा? This takes is nothing but the name of the association, that is a tagged value. ये note नहीं है, this is not a note, this is not a state, this is not a constraint also, this is just a relationship name, this is just a association name. तो ये कहाँ lie करेगा? This will lie inside the tagged values. This is tagged values. Is it clear to everyone? Clear है या नहीं है? Fine. Okay. Now let's see the abstract class and interface. What is the abstract class? Tell me. You guys must have read this now in Java or C++. What is the abstract class? Anyone? Functions to be overridden. थोड़ा simple करो. Yeah, cannot be instantiated. Okay. Simply put, abstract class is, for example, let's suppose you want to create a mobile phone. You want to create a phone, and suppose you want to remove this skin. You want to add one button here. Okay, you add one switch here, and if someone presses that switch, this mobile phone can be separated into two parts. Okay, you can separate the screen for the mobile. So this is a new functionality, separate screen. This is a new functionality that you want to create. Separate screen from my phone. ये आपने assume किया है. रात में सपना आया था कि ऐसा मैं कर सकता हूँ. तुम्हें नहीं पता तुम कैसे करोगे. You don't have the technology or expertise to do this, but you have thought this, that okay, I can do this. So abstract class is something that you will define that okay, I am defining a function, separate screen. This is a function. When someone will call this function, it will separate the screen from the phone. How? I don't know. ये होगा कैसे मुझे नहीं पता. So you will not define that function. You will only declare that function. That is what is meant by abstract. Same as action. Abstraction का मतलब भी क्या होता है? Only important things दिखाना. right? So abstract class is something in which you have defined some functions. You have declared some functions, not defined, sorry. You have declared some functions, but not defined them. Means you have just declared it like this, but you haven't explained what like this function, how this function will act, what this function will do. You haven't told that. And if you haven't defined any function, you haven't explained what is inside the function, you cannot create the object for that class. That is what is meant by object cannot be instantiated. For example, if you remember when we were reading the class diagram, तो उसमें एक animal वाला example लिया. This was our animal class. यहाँ पे we were having a tiger class, we were having a zoo class, sorry, lion class. यहाँ पे कोई और ले लो, dog class. Remember, to show inheritance, we have used this diagram. Right? Now, suppose in the animal class, I want to define a function eat. I have defined a function eat. I have declared a function. I have declared a function. Don't confuse with these words. I have declared a function that eat. It is a function that this animal will eat. Now, if these three are the child classes of this parent class, then eat function will be here also. Eat function will be here also. Eat function will be here also. A tiger will eat differently and different things. A lion will eat differently and different things. A dog will eat differently and different things. So if I want to call this eat function, I will not make the object of class animal. I will make the object of either class tiger. The tiger object is t. And then with the help of this t, I will call this function eat. Similarly, for the lion, I will make the lion object and I will call the lion eat. Similarly, for the dog class, I will make the object and call the function. Means you have only declared this eat in the animal class, but you have not defined anything inside this animal class regarding this eat function, that how it is working. The definition of this eat function, that lion goes for hunting, kills a prey, eat it. All these things are defined here in this class. Dog की properties और dog कैसे eat करेगा, that is defined here. How tiger will eat, that is defined here. So you have declared a function in some other class, but you are defining it in some other class or in its parent class. So what is this animal class called? What will this animal class be called? Abstract class. It is simple object-oriented like concept that you must have read in Java also. Okay, for example, that phone example also. Okay, you want to create a phone class phone, and separate screen is a function जो मुझे सपने में आया था कि ऐसा होगा. So I have declared this function in the phone class, but I have not defined this. मुझे नहीं पता है कैसे काम करेगा. I cannot give its methods. इसको मेथड बोलेंगे. I cannot give its methods. फंक्शन डेफिनेशन में नहीं दे सकता, इसके बारे में मुझे पता ही नहीं है. अब अगर उसके बाद भी if you want to use this separate screen function, so you have to create a child class. Okay, for example, child say phone small. This is a child class of this parent class. कैसे child class create करेंगे? With the help of extend in Java. Extends this phone class. इतनी Java की जरूरत नहीं है. This is just for the example I am explaining you. This is the parent class phone. I want to create its child class. I will create like class, whatever the class name is, extends this parent class. And now inside this, I will define this function, separate screen. This is my function, and now it will take some this, that, this will do some calculations, this will output this will do that. I have defined everything. Now if I want to use this function, obviously you cannot make the object for this class. वहां तो डिफाइन ही नहीं ना, किसके लिए ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओगे? यू विल मेक ऑब्जेक्ट फॉर द चाइल्ड क्लास and then you will call this function. Then only you can access this function. This is known as abstract class. Okay, किसी को दिक्कत है abstract classes में? अच्छा, दूसरी चीज, ये जो चाइल्ड क्लास बनाई थी स्मॉल फोन, दैट चाइल्ड क्लास वी हैव क्रिएटेड स्मॉल फोन, जिसमें उस एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास के फंक्शन को हमने डिफाइन किया है, दैट इज नोन एज कंक्रीट क्लास। तो पढ़ा होगा बचपन में, चलो फिर भी रिवाइज कर लो। हाँ, उसे बोलते हैं कंक्रीट क्लास, जिस क्लास में फॉर एग्जांपल अभी फोन क्लास थी, फोन क्लास के अंदर सेपरेट फोन वाज अ फंक्शन जिसको सिर्फ डिक्लेयर किया था, डिफाइन नहीं किया था। एंड इफ आई वांट टू यूज दिस फंक्शन, आई क्रिएटेड अनदर क्लास फोन स्मॉल, इनसाइड दिस फोन स्मॉल फंक्शन आई हैव डिफाइंड दिस फंक्शन कि सेपरेट स्क्रीन वाला फंक्शन काम कैसे करेगा। तो जिसमें डिफाइन किया है जिस चाइल्ड क्लास में, दैट विल बी नोन एज अ कंक्रीट क्लास। इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीवन? यस और नो? फाइन, एनी डाउट्स? किसी को डाउट कोई? सो ये अब इसमें एक चीज है, सपोज आई हैव अ क्लास ए। अच्छा, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास का मतलब ये नहीं कि उसके अंदर के सारे फंक्शंस डिफाइन नहीं है। फॉर एग्जांपल सपोज दिस इज माय एनिमल क्लास, छोड़ो, सपोज दिस इज माय स्पीकिंग क्लास, और ये ऑब्वियसली यू नो दिस इज अ सिंबल फॉर जनरलाइजेशन इन यूएमएल और इनहेरिटेंस। सो ये इंग्लिश स्पीकर, रशियन स्पीकर आर द चिल्ड्रन ऑफ दिस स्पीकिंग क्लास। नाउ आई हैव डिफाइंड वन फंक्शन स्पीक इनसाइड दिस स्पीकिंग क्लास। आई हैव डिक्लेयर्ड, सॉरी मैं भी थोड़ा शफल कर दे रहा हूं, डिक्लेयर्ड, बट आई हैव डिफाइंड दिस फंक्शन हियर, डिफाइन यहां किए हैं चाइल्ड क्लासेस में। So can I say that speaking is abstract class? Can I say or not? Can I say speaking is an abstract class because I have declared a function speak in speaking class, but I have defined that what will happen inside speaking here. यहाँ पे लिखा function method, यहाँ पे लिखा गया function method, यहाँ पे लिखा गया because the English speaker will speak differently, a French speaker will speak differently, a Russian speaker will speak differently. So you have to define speak function differently. तो वहां पे सिर्फ डिक्लेयर कर सकते हैं इन द स्पीकिंग क्लास, बट उसको सेपरेटली डेफिनेशन यहां पे देना होगा। तो कैन आई से स्पीकिंग इज अ एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास? अरे यस और नो? See, be responsive in the class. I will earlier also 20% marks for your internal is this only. Yes. And if suppose in the speaking class, this is my speaking class and I have a function speak. Speak. This function I have only declared. इसके अंदर की definition मैंने नहीं दी. But I have another function say eat. और उसके अंदर मैंने definition दे दी है कि eat function ऐसे ऐसे काम करेगा. eat के बारे में मैंने सब बता दिया. Now will this speaking class be an abstract class or not? It will still be abstract class. एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास में अगर एक भी ऐसा फंक्शन है जिसको आपने सिर्फ डिक्लेयर किया है, डिफाइन नहीं किया है, देन ऑल्सो दैट होल क्लास विल बी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास. दिस इज द वेरी बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास एंड इंटरफेस, जो इसके बाद हम लोग पढ़ेंगे. इंटरफेस में सारी की सारी क्लासेस आपको डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते, कोई भी फंक्शन डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते. ऑल द फंक्शंस हैव टू बी डिक्लेयर्ड ओनली. But in an abstract class, even if you have 10 classes, 10 functions, sorry, eat, sleep, speak, you have 10 functions. You have defined 9 functions, but still you have declared one function. Then also that will be abstract class. Okay, so means if this is a class A, speaking class, and I have left one function as declared only, I haven't defined its function, it will be a abstract class. Now there is a child class like this English speaker. Now just suppose again this speak function I have only declared here also in the child class. इसमें भी मैंने speak को define नहीं किया. So will this child class will also be abstract class? मतलब यहाँ पे speak मैंने यहाँ पे भी define नहीं किया, बस speak लिख के छोड़ दिया. I haven't declared speak here also. So will this English speaker will also be abstract class? Yes. Then अगर define नहीं किया, define तो obviously this is a abstract class also. और define कर देंगे तो क्या बोलेंगे? अगर यहाँ पे define कर दूं, then what it will be called? कंक्रीट क्लास. गुड. ठीक है, तो ये सीक्वेंस चलता जाएगा. इसका भी कोई चाइल्ड हो सकता था वहां पे जाके यहाँ पे भी डिफाइन नहीं किया, यहाँ पे भी डिफाइन नहीं किया, इसका भी एक चाइल्ड भी क्रिएटेड और यहाँ पे भी डिफाइंड, then this will be abstract class, this will be abstract class, this will become a concrete class. Fine. So this was abstract class. अब एक second term होता है interface. If anyone knows Java, can you tell me why we use interface in Java? क्या जरूरत पड़ गई थी जावा में इंटरफेस यूज करने की? किसी ने जावा पढ़ी है? I'll explain you obviously, but just asking. So tell me why you use interface in a Java. To remove the diamond problem of multiple inheritance. Yeah, simply put, multiple inheritance नहीं हो सकता है. If you have a parent class A, you have a parent class B, and you want to extend this A and B suit to a child class, means you want to write something like this: that child class C extends AB, multiple inheritance करना चाहते हो. With multiple fathers, you want to derive a child. This cannot be done in Java with the help of this extends. Extends means inheritance. Simple this inheritance. So this cannot be done there. So to remove this problem, people did implement. Extend की जगह keyword use हुआ implement. That C implements A and B, and that is what is called as interface. बहुत ही basic सी thin line है between abstraction and interface. In abstraction, we have seen that even if you define 9 classes, 9 functions, even if you define 9 functions and declare one function, एक function के बारे में सिर्फ declaration दिए, define नहीं किया, that class will be known as abstract class. But in interface, you cannot define any function. All the functions present inside the interface will be not defined. Everything will be not defined in an interface. Okay, for example, ये ज्यादा complicated हो जाएगा अभी. Take this example. This is an interface. How you know this is an interface? This is a class diagram. I can see 3 रो है, ये तो class diagram है. This is a class diagram structure. तो interface कैसे हो गया? Stereotype have been used. Okay, good. See this. This is the stereotype interface I have used. So पहले ये क्या था उससे मतलब नहीं है, अभी ये interface. Got it? This is the power of stereotype. It has converted a class diagram into a stereotype or into an interface. Now interface says that whatever functions you have written here, none of these functions has been defined. सिर्फ डिक्लेरेशन देके छोड़ दिया गया. ये तो सिर्फ डायग्राम है. इन द एक्चुअल क्लास आल्सो, जब ये क्लास मैमल है, दिस इज योर क्लास मैमल. सो व्हेन यू विल क्रिएट क्लास मैमल, you will, whatever this attributes has been given, then these functions, you will directly just declare this function, that there is a breathe function, there is a walk function, there is a eat function. You will not explain these functions, you will not define how these functions are working. In the interface, no functions can be defined. All these functions can be declared only. This is a very common thin line between abstraction and interface. And with the help of this, if I talk particularly with respect to Java, if you have a parent class A, you have a parent class B, you can inherit the both properties of A and B without using inheritance. अब यहाँ पे inheritance करने की जरूरत नहीं है, यहाँ पे interface बनाएंगे. A का interface बनाएंगे, B का interface बनाएंगे, और उसको child class C में implement करा देंगे. पहले क्या कर रहे थे? We were making the abstract class of A, abstract class of B, और उसको define कर रहे थे child class C में. We were doing this in abstraction. Interface में क्या करेंगे? We will create the interface of class A, same, exact same as class only, but interface. We will create the interface of class B, और उसको define करेंगे class C में. उससे ये possible हो सकता है. Okay, you can, C can be the child of A and B both. Got it? दूसरी बात ये, with the help of interface, it's not that only A and B can be the parents of a child class C. C can be the parent of 2 child classes also. Multiple, say D and E. सारे तरह के inheritances possible है. Multiple और क्या बोलते हैं दूसरे वाले को? I don't remember the name. Multi level क्या है ये? What is this called? 2 child class एक parent. What is this called? Two child class to one parent. Hierarchical. Okay, okay, maybe hierarchical. Okay, I don't. I forgot the name. Okay, so all these are possible. Okay, you can create with the help of inheritance this structure in your class diagram that you can make two parent classes. उससे एक child class निकाल लो और वो child class can be the parent class of two more classes also. I mean more complex relationships, more complex classes can be used. इसकी जगह सिर्फ abstract classes यूज कर रहे होते या normal classes यूज कर रहे होते तो ये possible नहीं था. This was not possible. This was possible, but this was not possible. एक्चुअल में अगर इन द यूएमएल डायग्राम की बात करें, दिस इज नॉट द राइट स्ट्रक्चर. जस्ट अ सेकंड. या if I talk about explicitly UML, this is not the right structure for interface because see in the interface what किसके बारे में हम लोग कंसर्न है. एक तो इंटरफेस का नाम होना चाहिए. सेकेंड थिंग इज these functions should be declared there, not defined. इसकी जरूरत नहीं है, attributes की जरूरत नहीं है if you think logically in interface, right? So the diagram for interface in UML is something like this, that here you will define the interface name and here you will write all the functions, say breathe, walk, eat. You will declare the functions. So this is the exact diagram for a interface. See this is the diagram that you have an interface biped and this is the function that is only declared, not defined. Got it? But with the help of this stereotype, you can make even a class diagram as an interface diagram like this. Got it? Now see this diagram. Suppose this is my class diagram. यहाँ तक तो normal class diagram है. Okay. Now this is a vehicle class. Now I want to create an interface that vehicle has some mobility. तो इसमें मैंने कोई एक फंक्शन दे दिया that got distance something anything I have defined in interface. इंटरफेस की पावर ये है कि आपको रात में सपना आया है और आपने उस सपने को एक फंक्शन की तरह लिख दिया. आपको नहीं पता है फंक्शन कैसे काम करेगा, आपकी टेंशन नहीं है. जो क्लास इससे इंटरेक्ट कर रही है उसकी टेंशन है कि इस फंक्शन को वो इंप्लीमेंट करे. ये पावर है इंटरफेस की. इंटरफेस में जो चाहे दुनिया का लिख दो. तुम ही पीएम हो, यहाँ पे लिख दो यू आर द प्राइम मिनिस्टर. आपका कंसर्न नहीं है कैसे, ये क्लास का कंसर्न है कि आपको वो करना है. दैट इज द पावर ऑफ इंटरफेस. अब कैसे, हाउ दिस इंटरफेस विल इंटरेक्ट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सपोज दिस इज माई ह्यूमन क्लास, दिस इज अ क्लास and this is the interface. Now there is an advanced relationship that is known as packages. तो ये दो इंटरफेसेस आपस में वो सारे काम कर सकते हैं जो क्लासेस कर सकते थे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल दे कैन एसोसिएट, दे कैन डू इनहेरिटेंस, दे कैन डू एग्रीगेशन, दे कैन डू कंपोजिशन. ये सारे रिलेशनशिप्स वैलिड है. These between two interfaces, all these relationships are valid. But if you are using another classifier, when I say classifier means anything that has encapsulation in it, means anything that has some kind of data captured together. For example class जिसमें attributes इकट्ठा रखे होते हैं. For example interface जिसमें functions इकट्ठा रखे होते हैं. For example node is also a classifier. node हम लोग component diagram में बात करेंगे. So these are your classifiers जिसमें data grouped together है. कुछ some kind of similar data are grouped together. So between two interfaces, you can do all these relationships. But if you have a different classifier, for example, you want to interact a class with an interface, you want to interact a node with an interface, then a special relationship comes, that is realization. अभी तक किसी को दिक्कत? So if you want to use, or if you want to say this is my human class and I want to interact this human class with this mammal interface, अगर कोई दूसरा क्लासिफायर you want to interact with a interface, you will use realization. और realization का मतलब कुछ नहीं होता है. इसको रीड कैसे करेंगे? Human being will realize the mammals. मैंने बताया ना इंटरफेस में जो लिख दिया वो इंटरफेस की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है कि वो ये सारी काम कैसे करेगा. दिस इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ दिस क्लास विच इज इंटरेक्टिंग, कि वो उसकी ये सारे काम पूरे करे. So if you have written a function, if you have declared a function like breathe, walk, eat, sleep in a mammal class, and you have realized this is a symbol for realization, and if you have realized this human class with this interface, this will mean that human will realize this mammal, or human class is in contract with this mammal class to implement or to define all these functions. Because you know, चाहे abstraction कर रहे हो चाहे inheritance interface कर रहे हो, ये function define तो कहीं करने ही होंगे. अगर abstraction कर रहे होते तो चाइल्ड क्लास में डिफाइन करते, चाइल्ड क्लास को कंक्रीट क्लास बोल देते. बट अगर इंटरफेस कर रहे हैं, अब क्योंकि इंटरफेस से इंटरफेस इनहेरिटेंस भी कर लोगे, इंटरफेस से इंटरफेस इनहेरिटेंस कर लोगे, देन आल्सो यू कैन नॉट डिफाइन दीस फंक्शंस हियर. इससे और इनहेरिटेंस कर लो, ये भी यहां डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज इंटरफेस में डेफिनेशन दे नहीं सकते हैं फंक्शंस की. यू नीड टू इंटरेक्ट विद क्लासेस, अदर क्लासिफायर से इंटरेक्ट करना पड़ेगा ताकि ये काम हो पाए, क्योंकि इंटरफेस के पास कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है कि वो आपस में इनहेरिटेंस या एग्रीगेशन या एसोसिएशन करके इन चीजों को फुलफिल कर सके. सो इट हैज टू इंटरेक्ट विद अदर क्लास, एंड व्हेन इट विल इंटरेक्ट विद अदर क्लास, दैट इंटरेक्शन इज नोन एज रियलाइजेशन. और इसका सिंपल सा मतलब ये है दैट ह्यूमन बीइंग विल रियलाइज all these functions of the mammal class, or human being is in contract, एक contract sign किया है this human class ने with this mammal class, that he will breathe, he will walk, he will eat, he will sleep, he will do all these functions for you. आपको पीएम बनना है, मैं बनाऊंगा, इसने बोला. आपको कुछ नहीं करना है क्योंकि आप कुछ कर भी नहीं सकते. गेटिंग इट? जिराफ इज अनदर क्लास. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, दिस इज अ पेरेंट क्लास, एंड दीज टू आर नॉट चाइल्ड क्लासेस. को चाइल्ड क्लासेस नहीं बोलेंगे ऑब्वियसली, बिकॉज यहाँ पे इनहेरिटेंस नहीं हो रहा है, यहाँ पे रियलाइजेशन हो रहा है, right? But this giraffe class is saying that giraffe class will realize this mammal class, means giraffe class is in contract with this mammal class to implement all these functions for him. Means mammal class का मतलब नहीं इन सबसे. These function will be implemented by human class, जैसे human को eat, breathe, खाना, सोना वगैरह है, and this function will be implemented by giraffe class, जैसे उसको करना है. That is the meaning of interface. Okay, and one class can interact one interface also, and it can interact with other interface also. एक से ज्यादा interfaces से भी interact कर सकते हैं. So how you will read this? That human class will realize this biped class, or human class is in contract with this biped class to implement its functions, whatever is written here. Means this function definition will be defined in this human class. These function definitions will be defined here. This is what realization means, and this is what interface means. किसी को doubt? Clear everyone? तो ये तो एक तरीका इंटरफेस रिप्रेजेंट करने का. either you represent it like this, a stereotype, or you use the normal structure for an interface, that is two blocks rectangle. There is another way also. For example, suppose I write that this is my class, this is a class, and say this circle. Okay, if I make a structure of this kind, this means that class C, and this is the interface, this circle is the interface. उसका नाम भी देना होगा. सपोज इट्स इंटरफेस नेम इज मैमल. एक इंटरफेस है जिसका नाम है मैमल. ये सेम थिंग, दिस इज द इंटरफेस which name is mammal. Now how you will read this? That this class C will provide the implementation for this mammal class. अब पढ़ने का थोड़ा सा काम अलग हो जाएगा, मतलब सेम है. यहां पे पढ़ रहे थे रियलाइजेशन में, that this class will realize this functions or this interface. यहां पे पढ़ेंगे that this just write it down what I am saying. Okay, this class will provide the implementation for this interface. Okay, let's see an example. See this. This is another way of representing an interface. Okay, actually this is asynchronous lecture which I am teaching you. Okay, this is already uploaded on your Blackboard also, but still I am covering it from my side. Okay, so this is a human class, and this biped is nothing, this circle, this is nothing but a interface. How you will read this? You will not read it like human will realize biped. No, you will now read it like humans will provide the implementation for बाइपेड क्लास. मतलब सेम है कि बाइपेड क्लास में जितने भी फंक्शंस है उसकी डेफिनेशन यहां पे आएंगी. giraffe class will provide the implementation for this quadrupt class. मतलब इस quadrupt क्लास में जितने भी फंक्शंस हैं जो आपने वहां डिक्लेयर करके छोड़ दिए होंगे उन सारी की डेफिनेशन यहां पे आएंगे. This means that human class will realize all the functions of the mammal class. This giraffe class will realize all the functions of the mammal class. Got it? Got it? अब इसको थोड़ा सा इसमें और चेंज करते हैं. If suppose you have this human class, देखो इंटरफेस में तीन चार तरीके हैं. पहला तरीका तो ये है कि स्टीरियोटाइप यूज करो और मेक अ क्लास डायग्राम एज अ स्टीरियोटाइप, सॉरी इंटरफेस. दूसरा है या तो इंटरफेस ओल्डर स्ट्रक्चर यूज करो, दैट इज रियलाइजेशन के साथ, दिस सिंबल के साथ. तीसरा तरीका है और चौथा तरीका है दैट यू यूज दिस सर्कल फॉर्म or the implementation form, that this human class will provide the implementation form of this biped. There is one more thing you will find. अब देखो इसके diagrams you don't have to make, okay? This is advanced structural modeling which you are reading. इसके diagrams as such guys need not make, ना इतने complicated diagrams नहीं बनाने हैं, बट पता होना चाहिए कि अगर बनाना पड़े तो कैसे बनाएंगे. That is why I am teaching you, okay? This C shape, a bean shape, ठीक है? This shape. If something is written like this is a class human, और वहां से एक ऐसे एसोसिएट. अब देखो फर्क क्या पड़ा. अच्छा ये तो see this is a interface, this is a class. If you are using this block representation for an interface, then to connect with a class you have to use this realization. ये realization का symbol है. But if you are using a circular representation for a interface with a class, you are not using realization. What you are using, what is this? What is this line? Association, right? So if you are using the circular representation for an interface, then you need not connect with the help of realization to this class. जैसे ये mammal connect हुआ है, you can simply connect it with association line. इससे अब कहाँ कौन सा यूज करना है ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर क्लीनलीनेस. कितने इंटरफेसेस हैं डायग्राम में, कितने क्लासेस हैं, वो आपस में कैसे इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं. फॉर क्लीनलीनेस बेसिकली यू मेक इट लाइक दिस. There is another way also, last way to represent interfaces. हम लोग पढ़ क्या रहे हैं, how to make interface faces, okay? And what is the interface? Just like abstract class, but here all the functions will not be defined. जो भी class interact कर रहा है या कुछ और class के सिवा कोई और classifier है, for example a node is there or a database is there that is interacting with this interface, so it's the responsibility of that class or database कि इसमें जो भी functions लिखे हुए हैं वो उसे implement करिए, उसकी जिम्मेदारी है. इसको तो सपना आया था, इसने लिख लिया जो उसको करना है, करने की जिम्मेदारी आपकी है, इसकी है, इसकी है. मतलब इन तीनों मैमल को, बाइपेड को, क्वाड्रप्ट को जो भी काम करना है उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इन दोनों क्लासेस की है. नाउ देयर इज वन लास्ट वे टू मेक इंटरफेस, दैट इज सपोज दिस इज ह्यूमन, you can make a half C circle. This is present in UML diagrams. You can make a half C circle. अब इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि human class will implement this C. ठीक है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ह्यूमन क्लास अब सी इस इंटरफेस का काम करेगा. सपोज इट्स इंटरफेस इज नेम इज say giraffe. This interface name is giraffe. So you will not read it like this that human being will implement this giraffe. अब यहां पे इसको उल्टा हो जाता है. Here it means that this human class needs this interface. अब इस human class को जरूरत है इस इंटरफेस की. That is the meaning of this C. तो क्या ये डायग्राम पूरा है? क्या अगर मैंने इसको ये इंटरफेस प्रोवाइड कर दिया, विल इट हेल्प दिस ह्यूमन क्लास? मतलब ह्यूमन क्लास में कोई फंक्शन होगा जिसको पूरा करने के लिए नीड दिस इंटरफेस. दिस इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस सी. सो इज दिस डायग्राम करेक्ट? इफ आई कनेक्ट दिस ह्यूमन विद एसोसिएशन लाइन विद दिस सी, विल माय प्रॉब्लम बी सॉल्व्ड? अगर इस ह्यूमन क्लास को ये इंटरफेस की जरूरत है, तो क्या मैंने अगर इन दोनों के बीच में एसोसिएशन लगा दिया ऐसे, क्या इस ह्यूमन क्लास की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगी? विल द प्रॉब्लम बी सॉल्व्ड? टेल मी, थिंक एंड टेल मी। क्या इंटरफेस की अपनी कोई स्टेटस है? कैन इंटरफेस इसमें चाहे तुमने 10 तरह के फंक्शंस डिफाइन कर दियो, क्या ये ह्यूमन क्लास इस फंक्शन को यूज कर सकता है? क्योंकि तुमने तो सिर्फ डिक्लेयर किया ना फंक्शन, इसमें डिफाइन तो किए नहीं है। सपोज देयर इज अ फंक्शन इन दिस इंटरफेस दैट इज गेट shape. There is a function like this and this human class need this function. तो क्या अगर उसको ऐसे एसोसिएट कर दोगे, कैन इट यूज दिस फंक्शन गेट? इट कैन नॉट यूज, बिकॉज ये तो कहीं डिफाइन ही नहीं हुआ गेट शेप। ये तो सिर्फ डिक्लेयर करा हुआ इसमें पड़ा है, तो अगर ऐसे एसोसिएट भी कर दोगे तो यूज नहीं कर पाएगा क्लास। दैट इज व्हाट इज द मीनिंग। सो क्या करें, अगर दिस इज द ह्यूमन क्लास and you have associated it with this C shape interface, say tiger, this is the interface. You want to use some functions of this class here, okay, but you cannot use because this has been not defined anywhere. So now you will create one more interface, one more class, or you will interact this interface with this interface। मतलब एक और इंटरफेस बनाओगे, इस इंटरफेस की सारी प्रॉपर्टीज इस इंटरफेस में ट्रांसफर करोगे, और जितने भी फंक्शंस इस इंटरफेस में आ गए उस सबको इस क्लास में डिफाइन करोगे। देन ओनली दिस क्लास कैन यूज दिस इंटरफेस, बिकॉज इसमें जितने भी फंक्शंस रिटर्न हैं दे हैव टू बी डिफाइंड समवेयर। बल्कि ये भी बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, डायरेक्टली यू कैन मेक एसोसिएशन हियर एंड यू कैन, नहीं जरूरत है बनाने की, बिकॉज सी का तो मतलब होता है कि इसे कोई यूज ही कर रहा है, ये किसी को यूज नहीं कर सकता, ये किसी को दे नहीं सकता कुछ भी प्रॉपर्टीज। तो अगर इस सी से प्रॉपर्टीज चाहिए किसी एक क्लास को, इफ दिस क्लास नीड्स द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ दिस सी इंटरफेस, तो पहले एक ओ इंटरफेस बनाओ इस तरह का, इंटरफेस की सारी प्रॉपर्टीज विद द हेल्प ऑफ एसोसिएशन उस ओ इंटरफेस को ट्रांसफर कर दो। अब ओ इंटरफेस में अब ओ इंटरफेस को अगर क्लास से कनेक्ट करते हो तो उसका मतलब क्या होता है, इसमें जितने भी फंक्शंस हैं वो यहाँ डिफाइन होंगे। सो नाउ कनेक्ट दिस ओ इंटरफेस with this class and define everything here, then only this class can use all these functions। इसमें किसी को दिक्कत? फाइन। सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट इंटरफेसेस। क्लियर है सबका कंसेप्ट? मैंने बहुत ज्यादा हाई लेवल बना दिया, इतनी वैसे इतनी डिटेल में जरूरत नहीं है, बट स्टिल है ना, इफ यू आर रीडिंग इट यू शुड नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज लेटर, ये क्या हो गया, सी कहां से आ गया, सर्कल कहां से आ गया, कुछ नहीं, इंटरफेसेस ही। इफ यू आर मेकिंग एनी रेक्टेंगुलर बॉक्स और अ सर्कल इंटरफेस, इसका तो मतलब ये है कि जो भी क्लास इससे इंटरेक्ट कर रहा है वो इसकी प्रॉपर्टीज यूज करेगा। बट इफ यू आर मेकिंग अ सी इंटरफेस, इट मींस that class which is interacting with this C interface needs the properties of this C interface। लेकिन वो प्रॉपर्टीज ऐसे तो जा नहीं सकती क्योंकि कहीं डिफाइंड नहीं है, तो उस प्रॉपर्टीज को डिफाइन कहीं करेगा। फॉर दैट वी हैव क्रिएटेड वन ओ इंटरफेस, और इन दोनों को एसोसिएशन से कनेक्ट करेंगे, फिर ओ इंटरफेस को एक क्लास से एसोसिएट कर देंगे, ताकि इसकी सारी प्रॉपर्टीज ओ में आ जाए, इसकी सारी प्रॉपर्टीज यहां आ जाए, तब जाके ये क्लास यहां से यूज कर सकती है। क्लियर? नाउ वन लास्ट टॉपिक ऑफ योर मॉड्यूल 2, वेरी शॉर्ट। चलो छोड़ो, वी विल डू इट इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास, बहुत हो जाएगा एक दिन के लिए। एनी डाउट्स यू हैव इन दिस, जस्ट आस्क मी। So till this point is your test syllabus. Till this point, interface is your test syllabus. Okay. Just CRs inform your class group also. Okay, to everyone, those who have not joined that class. Chalo then. Thank you. We will meet on Monday. Okay. Chalo, thank you.